Greetings, I'm Byron Garrett, CEO of Genesys Works, and today I get to have a conversation with one of our amazing alums who's been through the program, but more importantly, she's still connected as one of our national board members. So welcome to the conversation, Haley.
Thank you so much for having me, Byron. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the time.
Well, and you know, we just came from a board meeting.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, and I have to ask the question, both as a student, now an alum, and now a board member, why Genesys Works?
Yeah, I think I'd have to answer that question in two forms. First, as an alumni, and then secondarily, as now a board member, as well as professional working woman. And so taking it to the first one, I think for me, when I heard about this program, I was a sophomore in high school growing up in Minneapolis. I was definitely under-resourced, as well as underprivileged. And I had been doing a program called Big Brothers Big Sisters at the time. And the program really played such a pivotal moment in my life from the age of 11 until the age of, 21. And so when I heard about this program that was up and coming, it was in the Twin Cities. And at the time, it wasn't even in Minneapolis. It was only in, at the time, the other Twin City, which happens to be St. Paul. So I heard about this program. I said, I don't really know much about it, but I know that it's offering me skills. It's offering me additional income that I can support myself and my family. It got me really intrigued. And so I went to an info session, spoke to, at the time, a program manager, and just really got excited about the opportunity. As someone who grew up playing sports my whole life, I knew that I wasn't going to college for sports, but I was still really passionate about education and pursuing my next step. And I figured this program had a dual approach of, one, not only allowing me to gain additional income and money, but also it provided me an opportunity to really explore the next step, which was college. And so with the CCC programming that was offered at the time, I was like, I really need someone to kind of hold my hand and walk me through this process.
You mean you couldn't just figure it out on your own?
No, neither of my parents went to college. So when we were looking at items for school, they were like, what's a FAFSA? I don't know what a FAFSA is. And so it was really great to be so connected to the idea of a program that would allow me to do that. And so I was really just intrigued at the beginning. And then when I was able to go through the process, get into the program, I think you are able to actually actualize how big of an impact it is going to play on the trajectory of your life, right? I literally didn't understand how much of an impact it would make. And so went in really excited about it. And then it made such an impact. I was able to apply to, with the program, 26 colleges, got into 25. I ended up getting full rides to a number of schools and ended up going to a small school in Minnesota, primarily because not only did it give me a full ride, but it also, on top of that, supported me on the books and schools and essentials I needed to be able to provide the next step. And so it was great to stay close to home, but I was supported by Genesys Works the whole 4 years.
And where'd you do your internship?
So when I was in high school, I worked at Regis Corp, like the hair salon. So I was doing a lot of troubleshooting, modems at the times. I don't know if you remember modems, those machines that were ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So the salons would call when they had issues. And so I was the only intern at Regis at the time in Edina, Minnesota. And I had an amazing internship experience. I remember when I got my mid-term or my midpoint feedback, and a lot of the feedback was around areas that I could improve on. But one of the feedbacks on the positive side was, you're doing work better than people who are full-time employees here.
That's right.
And that are in their careers. I was just a high school student. So to be able to hear that as a high school student, you literally think of how you have boundless potential of what you can do.
That's right.
And so for me, that's the alumni really rationale. It's why Genesys Works.
And now you transition and you're a board member.
Yes.
So what is that like sitting on a national board?
And now as a board member. So I think for me now as a board member, it's really the idea of the impact and the access you provide, right? Because I think about the idea of, we just have so many children in the world who literally have so much potential, but they just don't have access, right? They don't have access to be able to tap into their potential and unlock it. And so for me, I really want to be a part of the incremental steps that we can make to make sure that we tap children and individuals and make a difference, because I'm literally a product of the trajectory of how your life can change because I did the program.
And you can't excuse the fact, I believe you're doing an MBA program or something like that at some little no-name school. What's the institution?
Yeah, so I just graduated with my MBA from the Wharton School in Pennsylvania, which is the #1 business school in the world.
That's right. Say that again. The number one business school in the world.
Yes, #1. And so, again, you think about the ripple effect of the program, like Genesys Works. Had I not done Genesys Works, who knows where I'd be right now, right?
That's
And so
exactly
you think
right.
about how one small like opportunity that you take and that access that you're able to take advantage of a resource, and then how that resource builds upon itself, right? And it stacks and stacks. And so you're able to go to college. That's one stack. Okay, now you graduate. You move to New York City. You work on Wall Street. First in my family to work on Wall Street. First in my family to graduate from college.
Wow.
And then you think about how you get access to a room of people like at Goldman Sachs, where some of the most premier individuals in society, right? High society is there. And so you start hearing about, oh, business school. What's business school, right?
That's right.
And then you start getting opportunities to explore areas you've never even heard of, right? I didn't even know what a FAFSA was, let alone I had never heard of an HBCU before. I was at Goldman, right? And so you start hearing about opportunities, and then you're able to get access to them because you have people in those positions who tell you the right people you should connect with, or you do the right programs. And so it's that idea of stacking on and changing trajectories. And so for me, that's why I'm excited to be able to give back now as a board member, because I just recognize that like we can play such a big role.
And folks want to know, and I want to know. So you just finished grad school at the #1 institution in the world for business. So now what? Do you go back to Wall Street? Do you start your own firm? What's the next step?
Yeah, so I did corporate America for 6.5 years, and I think for me, I've had enough of corporate America. I went to business school because I want to break into venture capital. Similar pipeline of like why do Genesys Works. Like I believe that there's communities of people who don't have access to capital, and that for me is Black and brown founders as well as women founders who literally just are being overlooked and under-resourced from a capital allocation perspective. And so I want to go into the venture landscape. I want to be a diverse like emerging manager and be able to give capital to people who need it and to people who just maybe have been overlooked. And I feel like that is the same kind of mission in a different way. You just apply it to, you know, more of a startup entrepreneurial sense than it is of a nonprofit. And so that's what I'm looking to do next.
And we roll all of that back to having a conversation as a high school student who ends up with an internship, that ends up in college, who ends up in grad school after spending time on Wall Street.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing.
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. What would you tell folks why Genesys Works? If you were recruiting somebody to say you either need to sponsor a student, you need to donate, what would you tell folks? I want you to say it right in the camera.
Yeah, so I think if you're a corporation and you're looking to be a part of what we're doing here, the amazing impact we'll have, I'll say think about it as a win-win, right? It's a win for you because you're building a talent pipeline of students that are at the most youngest component of their actual career, right? They are juniors in high school and they're having this opportunity as a senior. That's an opportunity for you to provide a talent pipeline to keep that student within your pipeline throughout their whole college career and then implement them into your job force post-college. Secondarily, it's an opportunity for you to give back to communities, local communities that need your dollars and need your investment to be able to help change the trajectory of students' lives. So think about it as a win-win. We hope you come along with us. Definitely, we could love and utilize your support.
And we're going to leave it right there. You heard it from one of our greatest alum and also a national board member, my boss, Haley Coller. Thank you.
Yes.